Today on the podcast, we are featuring the Seattle-based group Black Nite Crash. Learn more about them and listen to their track, Sugarwave.
Welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast, where we talk all things music. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimsel, blogger and music enthusiast. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. I'm your host, Jeanette Kimsel, and for those of you just joining us, this is the podcast where I talk about different musicians and how their music affects me, and then I play a track for you to listen to. So you can check it out, form your own opinion as well, and if you're so interested in sharing your thoughts on the track and artist, I'll have details at the end of the show where you can leave your comments as well. Today I'm talking about the Seattle indie rockers Black Nite Crash. I've been working through my inbox of emails and I came across this band and I was really digging their sound, so I decided to feature them this week on the podcast. So a little bit about Black Nite Crash. They are made up of the following members: vocal and guitarist Jim Biggs, bassist John Parker, guitarist James Stone, drummer Tony Zuniga, and vocalist and guitarist Claire Tucker. And please forgive me, I hope I pronounced all those names correctly. The band formed about 20 years ago and has been a rotating lineup with more than about 30 members ever since its inception. This was like such an interesting fact to me. There's been one member who has been kind of remaining as the original member since the band's inception, despite all the various lineup changes, and that is Jim Biggs. So he's the vocalist and the guitarist. And despite all of this, the band has maintained its original sound and vision. And I wasn't too sure about what that was because I was unaware of this band before I started listening to them. So I went back to see a little bit of their music, and it definitely does have a similar kind of theme throughout the music, even though some of this stuff is sung by Jim, whereas this song, the track I'll be playing later, is going to be sung by Claire. And I really think that having Claire sing this song was a good choice. I just thought it was interesting, this band's been around for such a long time, and they're still kind of like, true to the sound that they had, and they have this consistency over time, which is pretty neat. So, the band did go on to say that this song is a bit of a departure from what they have been doing in a while. As I said, I wanted to get kind of a sense of like what they were doing before, so I went on to Spotify and I checked out some of their music, and even though there was I think this song definitely has a little slightly different feel to it. It's a little bit more upbeat. It's a little bit more surf rock or very kind of effervescent and happy, upbeat, whereas their other music, it kind of has a little bit of a harder rock feel to it. I listened to a couple tracks. I just kind of pulled up the popular tracks that were on Spotify, and I was really, interested even in their other music. They had another song that came out earlier this month that was called The Take, and that was getting a lot of good reviews on some of the blogs out in the blogosphere, and I'm going to go through later and I'll give you a list of where they've been featured if you want to check out some of the stuff that other people have written about them. But yeah, so this band has been pretty cool, and the interesting thing is that, some of the songs are sung by Biggs, and I think it also probably has to do with the fact that they have such a rotating lineup and things have changed, so maybe they didn't always have, Claire as a vocalist, so then Biggs was singing. But yeah, the songs that they had on Spotify were really cool, and I did like them. They have this, even though the sound is different, they have an intriguing craft that just kind of features a lot of rock with elements of psychedelica, and it's also this song in particular has this 90s fast-paced guitar, very distorted fuzzy guitar sounds that are pretty cool. And as I said before, it kind of invokes this type of surf rock. At least in my mind, I found that the song was pretty interesting in that respect, because it does kind of depart from what they're playing. Because even if you listen to the song The Take, that's a very different sounding song, which actually kind of gave me some Tom Petty vibes. So it's kind of interesting to see this band how their new album will be coming about. And Sugarwave is the follow-up to their lead track, The Take, which I was talking about before. That came out earlier this month. Both of these songs can be found on their upcoming LP entitled Washed in the Sound with Black Nite Crash. It is due out October 14th via the American boutique label Neon Sigh. And according to Jim Biggs, apparently this is their 5th full length in nearly 20 years of existence. It also looks to be the start of a period of more frequent releases. So if you do like their music, you can definitely look forward to a lot of stuff that they'll be working on in the future. They said that they have a backlog of material as well as new stuff that they're working on now. If you're interested in listening to some of Black Nite Crash's other music, you can find it streaming on platforms such as Apple Music, Spotify, and their Bandcamp page, Black Nite Crash, and that is spelled Nite. I can also leave links to those in the show notes for your convenience. I don't want to get too repetitive with my thoughts on the song, but just kind of going back to the melodies of the song, it's got this upbeat feel, and it's got these very excitable guitar riffs and very beautiful and upbeat and happy vocals, and the vocals are complemented by an interesting lyricism. The lyrics for the song, according to Claire Tucker, they started out from a dream that her husband had pulled a bunch of out-of-character capers, and it got her thinking about dreams, and he told her about where she did strange or terrible things and what that might mean about the perception of the perception of each other, of what they think of each other, and if there's some hidden truth to the dreams, and if it's how we kind of see someone, in reality, and it's the true sense of what we think of people. And she was saying that it was kind of an attempt to bridge the gap of that, even as impossible as it may be, but the kind of desire to be odds at with kind of just understanding the allure and the likes and the compliments of things, and how we kind of get this dopamine hits, or a sugar wave from the way people think about us. And at least that's what I kind of took from the lyrics. I don't know, again, I could be wrong. Music is subjective. This is what I think, but I think that this, kind of lyricism definitely complements the melodies, because, there are these upbeat lyrics, and kind of also it could be kind of negative too, and that also kind of creates another layer to it where, if the song was just a happy-go-lucky lyric, or just kind of very one level, one layer, not very intense and kind of thoughtful or contemplative, or varied in the way that the lyrics are talking about. So it's interesting to see that this thought process, this kind of diving into the dreams and the way we perceive people and the way we perceive ourselves versus how other people perceive us, and the things that kind of get us this sugar wave, I thought was kind of a cool kind of compliment to the music itself. And again, I do really like the female vocals, the fact that they used Claire as the singer on this song. But yeah, that's what I thought about the lyrics as well, and I thought that they were pretty cool. But yeah, if you are kind of wondering what this band kind of sounds like, they have been compared to the likes of Lightning Seeds, Eels, the Beta Band, and the Wonder Stuff. And then also, and the Sugarwave song in particular is actually for fans of the Go-Go's, Blondie, Throwing Muses, Kim Wilde, Le Tigre, Dentist, The Heart Throbs, Blessed Ethel, and AC Marias. And this song may open up a whole wider audience for the band, because it's kind of showing, they are doing something different, they are doing something new. This song and the energy from the song was basically kind of just came to them, and they said even though it was kind of different from the things that they've done before, they felt like they didn't want to force anything. They wanted sound to just kind of come through, whatever they were kind of using, whatever was an inspiration to them, and they don't want to have a preconceived notion of what they should sound like. And that's kind of cool too, because it also I think kind of opens up to new listeners, and you can have one song that sounds like something, and you can have another song that sounds like something else, and it kind of has this varied feel to it. So that I thought that was pretty neat about the song. And then just kind of going into some of the places that they've been featured, The band has been praised a lot by the blogosphere, and they've been getting a lot of features. They were had write-ups in outlets like Amplify Music Magazine, The Big Takeover, Ringmaster Review, Dancing About the Architecture, Thoughts, Words, Actions, KEXP, Sound Read 6, and postpunk.com. You want to check these out, I can leave links to them in the show notes so you can see kind of like what other people are saying about the band. The band's also going to be having a couple shows this fall. These shows include an album release party on October 8th at Seattle's The Central Saloon. This will be followed by the Portland release show at the 6 on November 5th. And then finally they'll be playing the Tremolo Festival at Sunset Tavern in Seattle on December 16th and 17th. And with that being said, I think now I'll play the track for you. So without further ado, here is Sugarwave by Black Nite Crash.
And
We would love to know what you think about Black Nite Crash and their track Sugarwave. You can tell us in a comment on the podcast webpage. You can also leave an audio comment at the link in the episode summary. If you're looking for more information on Black Nite Crash, you can like and follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Facebook and Instagram, they are at the handle Black Nite Crash. That is BlackNitecrash. On Twitter, they are at the handle Black Nite Crash 1. That is no spaces and the number 1. If you're looking for more new music, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you get the latest updates on our artist features. You can also find more music features on our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com. That is EATSLEEPBREATHEMUSIC.com. Thanks for listening and see you in the next episode.
Thanks so much for listening to the Eat, Sleep, Breathe Music podcast. To find new music and learn more about what we do, you can check out our website at www.eatsleepbreathemusic.com.